Okay guys, welcome to this press tutorial. Press is one of the fundamental movements within kettlebells or any lifting, just being able to press overhead to get the weight above. A couple of the key principles that we want to get behind are things like tension, breathing, positioning, because on the outside it appears very simple, but in reality the press does have quite a few little layers to build on, and the only way to get good at pressing is practicing and usually using less weight than you think to begin with, but it does result in a much higher final weight. First of all, to get the bell up, we want to get into the rack position being up here or with two. Okay, it's a strong position where you can hold the force in the body. It's not out here doing this weird thing that I've never understood. So you can dead clean straight from the floor with the weight right between the feet in the middle, one hand, two hands, and just dead clean the weight into the rack position here. Or of course, as you get more skilled and you know the clean, you can do a clean straight into the rack position. It's important we get up here easily, don't want to waste energy. Now, key things in the rack position, because it's your beginning and your end position. I want to try to get this straight line with the forearm, more or less. Sure, there'll be some deviation, not a problem. But point being is we don't want to be overly in here. We don't want to be overly externally rotated either. They naturally feel quite tender and very unbalanced, so it's not good to be there. So we try and focus for a good neutral position. Bell across the palm. Grip. Think elongated shoulders, chest open, because the shoulder blades should be sitting quite nicely on the back, not overly curved like this all the time, because they're overstretching the back. And any good movement should come from a good position. Important. Now, imagine someone's pushing the weight down. You should feel your core kind of get really engaged, even if you push down yourself. You can feel that cramping in the lat, because when we make the press, that's what we need, the strength. Okay, everything down below, strong. With the other arm, you can stay in the mirrored position here, in the guard position, or the arm out here, okay? Then as we squeeze the whole body at once, creating a good solid press to the top, pulling back down. We can then de-rack, place the weight down. Simple as that, right? A couple of key things here that are going to really, really help the press. A, quick revision here. Rack position. Nice and strong, wrist straight, not over bent either way, okay? Now, once we're in this position, I want to think about, if I'm going to push your weight up, the tension below needs to do the opposite of the movement. So I'm going to squeeze all my body at once, okay, proportional to the weight. So I have to squeeze to create some tension to transfer the force into the floor. So I'm thinking strong feet, core, hips, and then lock out, pull down. And I say the word pull, good reason. As I squeeze, push, I kind of imagine actively pulling down into this position. Because a lot of people will either just collapse the weight like this, and that feels terrible, and that's going to risk of injury, but also it's just not pleasant. So squeeze, push, imagine you're going to pull. You'll also engage your lat, that will stabilize the shoulder a bit, gives you a really nice press, okay? Okay, now that's your rack position for the hand, shoulder, nice press while you're going overhead, okay? And then that pull down. Breathing mechanics, switching hands. Once you're in the rack position, take that breath, because you're helping create a bit of intra-abdominal pressure, which is important, okay? I'm then going to create that irradiation through the body by squeezing. And I've exhaled a really short, hard amount there, because that adds that tension through the body, and then I push. At the top, I can lock out, pull down. Okay, and I'm absorbing that force. Then I'm inhaling again, so pushing through with strong feet, and back down. That's how nice the press should be. So if you find your quality lacking, if you find the force is hard or it hurts, change the weight, practice the technique, and that will hopefully align these kind of issues and get them out of the way. Common errors in the press that I see: people pressing and overextending at the back because this isn't doing the work it should do. Okay, so there's a little bit to address there. So you get a bit of pressure there. So think about this. You need to think about a can of Coke. I hate to use the word Coke, but hey, decent can of something nutritious. So bring those lines together between the pelvis and the rib cage, a bit more well stacked with a better position. You might find this even brings your chest over a bit, and you think, well, hang on, now I can't press because I'm over. That's the next bit. So with this is in a better position, it takes the pressure a bit off the lower back, and you'll find you can get the glutes more. Push through the floor, like you're gonna create like a strong stomp, push through, and you'll start to feel more strength coming through the core, which would relieve some of that pressure on the lower back. Now, like I said, with shoulders, you might find a bit of pull over here to start with, and then you're like, okay, how do I get back? This could be because you actually have a very tight chest, so I'd advise doing a few chest opening drills. Okay, you can do very simple ones, rotations on the floor or against the wall. We'll use a weight something to help you actively gain more range of motion. And then second of all, think about shoulder stabilization. You could do an isometric with a band, pulling it off a wall, holding to get that chest activation while keeping the strength in the core. Do that for 30 seconds, relax. You should feel a bit of a difference. Then trying to push through with these open shoulders. Okay, just to show you that difference, right? If I'm tucked in here and I press, it feels horrible because I'm having to push forwards and it's impinging here. If I go, get strong, push through the floor and think shoulder blades a bit more together and shoulders apart, you see how it moves. And now I've got a more open position to push through and punch up for the press. Imagine being a champion on a podium. Okay, that's your strong position. So you have to lock out, feel the upper back working, core, glutes, controlling that force on the way down. This is your basis for a strong press. If you get this right, then you can advance and go have all the fun you want with the push press, jerk, whatever else you want to do, the snatching, all that work. But this is the fundamental movement of a press vertically that makes a wild difference. And when you get into more athletic drills where maybe we have a rotation, a step, you're going to want to have that confidence to move through the press without having to think about it and worry about other things. If you've got any questions, comment below, or of course do send them to me directly and I'll help you out.